All right. Well, I think it's about time we talk about a movie that I've actually watched a lot over the years. A movie that is a very okayish, good, interesting, very almost nostalgic at this point of a zombie apocalypse movie. And that, of course, is Land of the Dead, a movie that came out quite some time ago, back in 2005, which is 20 years ago. Jeez Murphy. And you know what? As a movie that is an old zombie movie, long before Walking Dead, is actually a pretty good movie. And let's talk about it. Now, Land of the Dead is certainly not perfect, and it's certainly far from the heights of zombie apocalypse of Walking Dead. Now, I started watching Walking Dead because I watched this movie. It made me long for you know, the Walking Dead mythos because it's a very Walking Dead esque movie. There's a lot of themes taken from, Land of the Dead that is incorporated into The Walking Dead, and it's like almost a corny early 2000s version of a movie of Walking Dead, if you would look into it. But there are differences and there are similarities. So let's talk about them. Now, the movie takes place during the zombie apocalypse, a story we all know well and good. George A. Romero's, I think it's linked to, the early zombie type movies. Of course, this was somewhat infancy, but we have all the same tropes of zombies that we normally have. The zombies sometimes look fantastic in this movie, and sometimes they look like just some dudes with makeup on. So it's pretty evident when you watch this how far zombie, looks and types of things like that actually encompasses it. It is very similar to The Walking Dead with the virus. Is it when you die you turn into zombies? It's fairly simple walker behavior. They're zombies. These zombies are a little different because they seemingly have a little bit of intelligence, which makes them interesting in the zombie mythos and unique, as most zombies just completely and utterly lack any form of intelligence. These ones in this movie are seen using guns, trying to be who they were before. So it seems like there is some interesting aspects of that. Whereas in Walking Dead, when there has there's different amounts of zombies just being completely brainless hordes. In this, they kind of seem like they almost have like a little bit of intelligence, especially the main like mechanic zombie who's like kind of intelligent. He kind of like figures things out and leads the horde, which is totally unique. Now, bizarrely, this movie has some actually pretty cool characters in it. We got John Leguizamo as Cholo, who's just this Daryl-esque, awesome, epic, zombie slayer who's very smart and has kind of like this, what is it called? He has a harpoon gun type of thing that he uses. It's a similar story to if you get bit by zombies, you die and turn into them. So there's all the common tropes, and there is a Daryl-esque John Leguizamo, and I must say, John Leguizamo, as sad and old as he has become in today's world, he definitely had it going on back then. He looks epic. He's a great actor in this, and this movie fills me with a good amount of nostalgia because I always really, really, really liked John Leguizamo's character in this. He's a Daryl-like figure. He's really, really epic. I actually like him more than the main character himself, Riley. And Simon Baker does good enough as kind of the stoic, hero-esque man. And of course, Dennis Hopper is fantastic as Kaufman, kind of this, shadow figure that has built this, skyscraper into a paradise where people can forget about the land of the dead, so to speak. So it's got interesting concepts and it's got interesting characters as well. The character of Cholo is fitted right out of any zombie apocalypse story. I mean, he's epic. He's a survivor. He's living on what he can. He wants to join kind of the upper elite that Dennis Hopper is a part of, and I really like that mechanic of it. Of course, probably feel very safe in this skyscraper, far from that. But later on in the movie, when no spoilers or warning, when the town gets breached, the settlement, you would think that it would be very easy to defend the zombie apocalypse in a skyscraper. All you would have to do essentially is just knock out the ability for zombies to progress up levels, whereas humans could just jump on like a, I don't know, a zip line system or ladder system. A skyscraper in a zombie apocalypse movie, you could cordon off every single entrance and have it so that only humans could progress to the upper levels. So this movie kind of like it both is a great idea for them to use the skyscraper, but when the settlement gets breached and the zombies are able to just walk up into the upper levels, it really makes you think that, man, these people were stupid, because they could have literally just made it so the zombies could not get up to the upper levels. So I don't know. It is a unique idea because it does give you like the skyscraper ability. Like you could make a skyscraper infinitely easy to defend against zombie hordes. Just they just can't get up higher and make it so that humans can. So yeah, that is probably one of the most interesting sides of this movie, is that there's this elite upper, forget about the world that's gone to crap, and just go live in this skyscraper in opulence, and all the peons will go out and get you food. So that is the most interesting aspect of Land of the Dead, and where this movie really shines. Now, this movie certainly has downsides, and I will get to them right now, because man, does this movie fills me with a good amount of nostalgia. I used to always just kind of have it on while I was playing, Diablo 2 or whatever, or play it, watch, while I was playing Spore. I would always have Land of the Dead just on. It's just a very mindless zombie romp, because before Walking Dead, and this is why I wanted to watch Walking Dead, you would just kind of have it on. It is a zombie. It's a good zombie movie from the time. But man, does it ever have some downsides. And without a doubt, I would say the biggest downside of this movie is that sometimes it's just corny. It's just goofy. The zombies are goofy. The characters are kind of goofy. The Robert Joy's Charlie character is just very unlikably goofy. And I don't know, some of the aspects of it, when like they go in the battles and the things, it's a very corny movie, and it has so many goofiness. Like for example, when the zombies like pick up something and they're like, ugh, and then let's just starting to use their mindless, or when the one zombie mechanic leader guy just falls into the water. It's kind of like Ted doesn't take itself too seriously, and like that alone is, whereas Walking Dead is very much grounded in simplicity and reality. Land of the Dead is just kind of like a schlock zombie movie. Some of the zombies, and I think one of the biggest complaints about it, especially now after Walking Dead, later seasons of Walking Dead have some of the most incredible looking zombie effects. You know what I mean? Like the zombies in a lot of the Walking Dead just look completely and utterly haunting. But knowing that, you go into this movie looking at some of the zombies, and some of the zombies look fantastic. I will admit. But you can pick out almost to a T some of the zombies. They're literally just some people with some white face makeup on and maybe some blackness around their eyes, and those stand out like a sore thumb. And there are some who obviously have prosthetics and look very creepy, but there are some zombies in here that just look like just people who are walking around, and that makes it awkward. And that actually makes it quite funny, because you're like, well, that's not a real zombie. It's just a dude with some face makeup. But there's the strange thing about it is that there's enough zombies in this movie that are pretty good looking, almost on the par of like modern Walking Dead, where it would have been very impressive for the time, and you certainly are like, wow, that's actually a really good looking zombie. And it's mostly the main zombies, because if you pick out any of the extras, like you'll see some of them just look like people walking around, and that makes it kind of funny. And like I said, it's a very schlock movie. It harkens back to a time before Walking Dead, whereas Walking Dead, you have this incredible, massive, expanded verse of, all these different moments and situations. Walking Dead is just, or Land of the Dead, sorry, is just quick. It's just quick. It's about the length of 1.5 Walking Dead episodes, and to have a whole zombie story play out that way, it really goes to show how series are more almost better for certain stories, I would say. Because in this story, whereas back in the day you used to only have this movie, there wasn't these big massive TV series, it made me appreciate Walking Dead a lot more, because this is a story that you want to take your time with. You want to know these, different situations, how you would handle it, how your group would fare, the dangers and all these things. Land of the Dead is a movie that just kind of comes and goes in an hour and 33 minutes, and it's just over. You know what I mean? So it you will have such a new appreciation for Walking Dead after you watch this movie, because it's a good story and a good setting that's just there and wrapped up before you know it. And characters like Cholo, John Leguizamo, you're actually like, this is pretty awesome. He's cool. I want to know more about him. And he's like in, you get like maybe a half an hour of him, and he's dead. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's problems to telling stories in such a condensed situation like this. You want to learn more of, and you want to experience more of the world, but it's just kind of there and gone with. It's very schlock. It's very old. It's a movie that's definitely worth watching, and I have a surprising amount of nostalgia for this kind of movie, because it's kind of sci-fi. It feels almost sci-fi. They're using gadgets. It's kind of like a kind of a futuristic world, post-apocalyptic world dystopia of the zombie apocalypse, and you feel the safety of the inner workings. Whenever you get a zombie, like it's like in The Walking Dead, whenever you had the settlements, you feel safe when the characters are safe. You know what I mean? So like I just think that it's an interesting concept dealing with the skyscraper, because it really made me think, and especially now starting to just a fiend for binging Walking Dead after watching this, is that if you took a skyscraper and you turned it into a base, it would be the best base imaginable for zombie apocalypse, because you could cordon off the lower floors. And they don't seem to do that in this movie, which is really stupid. And, the zombies break in. But yeah, for its time, Land of the Dead has great sets. A great setting. It has great effects. It's kind of the moment when zombies really took over in pop culture. And honestly, I think it's 100% worth a watch today. And if you are even have an inkling of watching The Walking Dead, start with this movie, because you'll really see how far we've come with zombie effects, zombie mythos, and just zombie environmental storytelling. Because this movie is pretty much pretty much the beginning of zombies in our modern pop culture, exemplified. There was also the 2003 movie, I think it was called, what is it? The other Dead movie that's John A. Romero. Like, you have to see how far we've come, and now you will see that Walking Dead was a very, 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 very good couple seasons at the start, and it, of course, trailed off wherever it did. But we had a time when this was primo zombie material, and there are certainly faults. So yeah, Land of the Dead, very interesting movie.